because Hollywood is dead, right? The acting ability. This is AI, right? And it was going to blow your mind that this is AI.
So I went to the zoo the other day, and all they had was one dog. It was a Shih Tzu.
Hollywood's dead. If they can get things this photorealistic, which apparently they can, it's very impressive, right? It's very impressive. So what do we have to expect for the upcoming Doctor Who, right? Like for the future of Doctor Who, right? Let's talk a bit about that for a second. Let me open up. That's it. We got the new Doctor Who magazine to look at as well. Pocket mags, doink. Here we go. So, man, it gets more and more crazy the more like an era is getting closer to the end and to objectively fail. Right? It's the you found the fans of the Jodie era. They kind of like got more crazy as they went along, and I'm seeing that now with fans of this era. Right? Having said that, I really appreciate. Again, this is from Dan's channel. I really appreciate who is it? Luke, who the Hooligans, and here's another guy on his Monday show, who are enjoying the current series, right? And I'm so used to this being adversarial, right? Which on X has been very adversarial for the last few days. They've been like really hounding them their asses left, right, and center. But like they really like they got a bit crazy because why are they going crazy? Because I'm telling the truth, and the truth hurts, right? The truth hurts. And this era was shit, and it's failed, right? But as I said, Luke and was it Anthony? Maybe they like the era, and they're getting enjoyment out of it. So I have no problem. And they talk about it like normally, right? So now this is just like an argument about do you like Delta and the Bannermen or not? It's like that, right? Which I just find Delta the Bannermen. Dad loves it. I find it irredeemable. I think the only way you can save Delta and the Bannermen if you re-edit it into a 40-minute episode, and then you CGI a different baby over it and a different young girl, and maybe another actress for Delta as well. Right? She was awful. And then maybe you might get an episode that doesn't make you want to hit yourself in the head with a frying pan. So anyway, as the end is nigh, there's a lot more gossip going on, right? There's a lot more gossip going on, and I kind of like judge the veracity of it by how prevalent and similar it is, right? So what do I believe the future to be? I think by next Sunday, we will know who the next Doctor is, and there'll be a photo shoot. There'll be photos released, and I think, that's where we're going, right? I think they have a plan. I think they know where they're going. I think they're intending to either do it on their own or with another streaming partner, right? They may create it and then try and get a streaming partner after production, right? That could be as well. But apparently, and I read this in several publications. I believe it's true that a lot of the expense was upgrading to 4K. Whereas the BBC normally upgrades to 2K. They say it costs like $10 million to do that. Really? That sounds crazy to me. I don't know who's charging you, but that sounds crazy to me. All right, but okay. I think Rusty Davies is continuing, and I think the BBC. I don't think we're seeing War Doctor Who to 2027, but next year we'll have the war between the land and the sea. So my initial thought of that is, oh god, more, really, more. I think there's a reason to be optimistic and hopeful. That's really my default setting, really. I always want Doctor Who to be good. I think there's two problems with the current era of Doctor Who. I mean, there's a lot of problems that stem from it, but there's two major problems. One is that it's queer propaganda, right? And I don't like it being queer propaganda. If you believe women have penises, if you believe Yasmin Finney is a woman, good for you. I'm not getting your face about it, right? I don't. And I feel that you're preaching to me that she is. And I'm not going to accept that belief. I mean her no harm, no hate whatsoever. But just in the same way, you don't think that God appeared at Mount Sinai and gave the Jews the Ten Commandments, the first two of the Ten Commandments, right? And the Bible, which is fine. You don't have to believe what I believe, right? I don't believe women have penises. And I'm sick of it being, Doctor Who being used as a platform to promote this propaganda, right? So that's the first major problem. It's kind of backed down from that quite a bit this year, which I think is a good sign. Let me have to think. What's the queerness been this year? We've had, let's see if I can go through the episodes. We had the Robot Revolution. Now, okay, the first thing is the queerness. The second problem, which I think is very much tied into the first problem, is Ncuti Gatwa, right? Ncuti Gatwa is terrible as a doctor, right? All he knows how to be is super duper duper queer, right? So, and Russell T Davies is very, 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 very married to this queer platforming. But this all came from, when was this? 2022, right? But the world was a very different place, literally 3 years ago, right? And I don't think he possibly expected the backlash or the failure to be what it was, and the failure's been colossal, right? We were saying it can't get any worse during the Jodie era, like the viewing figures. It can't get any worse, right? So I think that has affected him deeply. I think one of Russell T Davies's main driving factors is he likes to win and he likes to succeed, and he doesn't like that he's totally failed, right? I think that's something that really bothers him. And again, a good part of that failure is down to Ncuti Gatwa. Ncuti Gatwa is a one-trick pony. He can play super queer. If he has more of a range, I've never seen it, right? So now, okay, so let's say Rusty Davis stays on, and there's going to be a new series in 2027, right? I think we'll probably have. Will it continue what's going on? And so I think it will continue narrative threads, but I don't think it's going to continue tonal threads. I'll tell you why. Firstly, I've heard, look, especially in the last week, insane stories about how awful Ncuti Gatwa is to deal with, right? And I have no idea if they're true, but I heard them a lot from a lot of different places. Like, one of the stories I heard is that when he was doing Importance of Being Earnest, he didn't like the director and tried to get him fired by saying he was racist, right? And I hear he's like a very Hollywood-esque prima donna, which all kind of makes sense, right? It does make a lot of sense. And he's got like, he's... If you've ever seen Mad Men, there's a great line in it, I think, in the 5th or 6th season, where this Mad Men's about this like advertising genius from the 1960s, right? And they and somebody gets him upset, and so this other executive says, "Yeah, that is some expensive horse flesh. Don't mess with it." Right? So Ncuti Gatwa is a I think expensive and tiresome star. I think there were lots of rumors, which I now tend to believe, that Russell Davis was pissed off. Again, I heard this from a bunch of places. Was pissed off that Ncuti Gatwa really wasn't being good in the public perception of the role. Right? He was being Ncuti Gatwa. He was swearing, and we talked about this many times over. And I think this has hurt the show, and I think Russell Davis does like it. So I think there's a good chance. I think there's a chance that when it does continue, the wait 1 second, let me send a message. I think that does continue, and I think we're going to get, and we'll find out next week when Shutigatwa regenerates, which is what I think is going to happen. But again, the other rumors I've heard is it's regenerating in a humiliating fashion, right? Because they really don't like each other, right? Or Russ Davis really doesn't like him. So I think maybe there's a chance that Russell Davis doesn't want to completely fail again, and B, I think that and B, there's going to be a reaction against Shutigatwa. So maybe we'll get somebody who isn't so deeply sexualized as Shuti, because that's all there is to him, right? That really is. That's all there is to him is sexual preferences. I see very little else. So I think maybe. I think Verada Sethu was clearly a good choice to replace Millie Gibson. I mean, she has been fabulous in the season. And generally speaking, I think this season has been a lot better than the first. Like, a lot better. I think for me, I think the queerness has really been turned down, if I'm looking at it honestly. And the biggest problem is Shutigatwa. So if they do another season with a good actor as the Doctor, and they managed to turn the queerness and the wokery down. And I think Russell Davis might want to do that. That would be fantastic if he wants to do that, because then we would have good Doctor Who, right? So I think there's reason to be optimistic, right? Am I alone in thinking this? I don't know. Let's bring in another mind into our Gestalt thing. By the way, I watched but I'm addicted to the Cunning Monkey Matrix editions. They are the go-to way to watch Doctor Who now, because like I've seen the story like 20 times before, right? And I just want to see the bits I like, kind of thing. The re-edits. I watched the Three Doctors, and he does a very good effect when they mind meld, right? It's good edit. Anyway, to bring it to our Gestalt identity, we have the one, the only Birmingham's King of the Geeks, Stan Hadley.
Oh, I do. Contact has been made. You need to get the sound effect down. Yeah. Hello, Rabbi. Hello, everybody.
I'm feeling somewhat optimistic about Doctor Who today.
Well, I say I'm good. I'm £10.99 lighter because of these Robin you-know-whats.
Oh, yeah. I'll just go do the review of it. £10.99.
£10.99.
Does it come with a hand job from Millie Gibson?
No, doesn't look like it.
You can simulate it by just looking at the picture.
Yes. I've done about 10 days without publicly letting it Verada Sethu, but I think I'm coming to the end of that sort of cold turkey. She's getting hotter.
She is. She really. I mean, like, and she has been a stand-up since. Okay, my premise is: do you think this season has been less queer than the pre? And I really do. Right, other than Shutigatwa. But my two issues are: it's like queer propaganda, and my second issue is Shutigatwa. Is the queer propaganda turned down in this season? What do you think?
It has been, but it's only because they want to propagandize us about other things.
That is true. I mean, we did. I mean, like the African story was just awful, right? There's been a lot of stuff. Okay, but it wasn't queer at all. That's okay. So we had Robot Revolution. Now, I don't remember that being slapped in the face by queerness. I don't. So the second one what's the second one?
Lux.
There was a bit like preaching about racism, but again, I think the major problem with that was Shutigatwa, right? And also they just destroyed they've destroyed themselves as a brand, right? No one's interested. They got to recast and get a new actor in and reboot, because no one's interested in watching this. It's been a disaster. So I'm thinking I'll say before, Rusty Davis likes to win. He hates to lose. He absolutely hates to lose, right? And I don't think relations between Bad Wolf, Cardiff, Rusty Davis, and Shutigatwa are very good. In fact, I think one party hates the other, right? I think they've been like a very hard to work with. Maybe that was what happened with the firing Millie Gibson. I don't know.
As I understand it, it's been up and down since that video of Shooty and Millie. They were both swearing, smoking, and gyrating on the car park at Bad Wolf during one of the recording things. So and then there was the stuff, the pictures that came out of him smoking in costume, and things like that. So I think it's been up and down.
Davis cares about, right? I really know. So again, I think maybe Millie Gibson was a handful to deal with as well. Look, she was a 19-year-old. Maybe she went out boozing. Maybe she was a pain in the ass to deal with. I think Verada Seethu was a really good casting choice. That one, in a sea of bad creative decisions, that was really on point. She really was, and I like her character as well.
In a nutshell, from everything that I've been told, I mean, that was the person who approached me. Everything that I've been told in a nutshell is that Millie Gibson found working on Doctor Who a huge culture shock.
Oh, wait, in what way? That's intriguing.
The schedule, the etiquette of it, the scale of it, and the expectations on her.
And again, I get that Verada Seethu just came from Andor, so she's used to big productions.
Yeah, she also did 5 years on that show Strike Back for Sky as well, which, wasn't exactly a big, expensive, glossy drama.
But it puts you in that. It trains you to do Doctor Who, essentially.
It was that kind of treadmill, and there was filming abroad. It was probably very, very intensive, and it was physically very demanding of her as well. And she got into very. She looks great in combats. If you go and see that show, my God! But it would have been that kind of schedule, as I understand it. The culture of working on a soap that Millie Gibson came from on Coronation Street, pretty intense. But it's kind of, for the people who work on those shows, it becomes a sort of way of life, and they become institutionalized, particularly when they've been on it since they were 11 or 12.
Right.
So I feel for her, but yeah.
Right. Yeah, I do see that. So, what do you reckon? Firstly, I don't think there's going to be a straight regeneration. I think some weird thing is going to, they've been in a fake realm for this time. That's why they've broken the fourth wall and stuff like that. Mavity. Maybe they're going to wrap all that stuff up, and he regenerates into Hamish Patel, right? Then I think there's reason to be excited again. Right, I really don't if he picks a good actor, who, even if a gay actor, I don't care if they're gay. I want to know they can act and they can do something other than be super gay, right? Because that's the only trick in Shooter's Basket, right? So I don't know. Do you think there's reason to be optimistic?
I
guess not.
Okay. Do I? Okay. What else? What I can? Right. Okay. As I understand it, what interests me is the idea that, as you've said, we've had a very hard and consistently pushed vision of the show, politically attached to a specific movement. And as I understand it, when you describe something as what was it you say, the queer era, that kind of thing, you're quite, in many respects, you're right. And I know you're not talking about queer people, gay people, minority groups of people. You're talking about the initiative, the political initiative behind the show.
I'm being lectured at to believe that women can have
yeah.
Right?
So
I don't mind if you think that.
It's that cluster of topics that are all interlinked to one another. I think, and Chibnall also had a cluster of things that he wanted to say, and a statement that he made in the casting of the character, and it all formed a complete take on the show. And you could say this has as well, obviously to play to a minority of people, but you could say to whether they're going to abandon that to go forward with the next whatever their plans are. I'd like to think they would. I'd like to think there'd be a kind of. I'd like to think there'd be a kind of been there, done that about it, and think, okay, so we've done that. What's the next take going to be? Particularly as they've got an extended period of time in between the productions now, a lot of time, and also, I mean, I've been saying since February that Disney are gone. As I understand it, they still haven't found.
I'm equally sure. I'm going to look at Doctor Who magazine in a minute. Next month's cover is going to be whoever it is, George Costanza is the Doctor, right? I'm sure that's going to be the next cover. Unless it might be a one-off Doctor, right? It might be Billy Piper for a Christmas special. They might do something like bizarre and strange like that. I get the feeling something weird is going to go down. There's going to be something stupid with Susan. But again, I know they keep breaking the fourth wall, and there's again the Mavity thing. It does indicate they're in a,
I'd like to see all of that stuff, as you said, tied up and sort of dispensed with. The Mavity, the joke. It was never particularly effective in the first place. But it's like Mrs. Flood. It's the shelf life. It's up. It was past its sell by date.
Right.
They need to abandon all of that stuff. But because I don't think Russell, the reason why Russell left the first time was because he felt like he'd said all he possibly could say at that time and told all the stories he had to tell. And now I think he's come back not to tell more stories, but to say more things. And I do wonder, does he feel that his role is to say more or to facilitate other people who belong to different kinds of groups that he views have been disadvantaged? Does he now view his role in lifting those people up so that they can continue to speak? I don't know. Obviously, I've never spoken to the man, but I think that could be informing him editorially in a way that he wasn't when he was first in the role 20 years ago.
But again, I think this is his chance to have a do-over, and he's seen it's been a disaster. I mean, it's been a bigger disaster than I could have predicted, than anybody could have predicted. It's been an absolute shit show.
Yes.
Right. And again, I think qualitatively, this season is much better than the last. Anyway, so I don't think Lux was that queer. The Well wasn't. Again, the problem with that is shooting Gatwell. He wasn't in it much. And then we had the African one. And then it was honestly, I think the Eurovision one could have worked a lot better if the character of the Doctor was like the Doctor, right? And it wasn't, he wasn't cruel and cowardly. And I don't even think the camp would have worked if it wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, the problem. I hate to say, the problem with the Eurovision one, with whatever it was called, Interstellar Song Contest, whether it was Dawson's idea or not, the problem with that episode is that Juno Dawson simply isn't a very good writer. So
the
plot was paper thin, and the characters were
dying.
Yeah, it just wasn't anywhere. It was fine in principle. I'm not a Eurovision guy. I can't stand all that stuff, and it frustrates me that Doctor Who gets lumped in with that brand of sort of camp, glitzy kind of entertainment now.
It really shouldn't, right?
I don't.
It really
no. I see no reason to let it stay there. Even if some people may compartmentalize it, may group it together with all that stuff, but that doesn't mean that the show itself should play to that. And so, accepting that's not to my personal taste. If I'm being honest and objective, setting a Doctor Who at an intergalactic song contest with terrorists and with this and with that and with the other isn't necessarily a bad idea.
No, it's
Unfortunately,
not.
it was written by a fraudster, somebody who's not capable of writing for television.
Speaking of fraud, let's take a look at Doctor Who magazine because you wasted your money this month. You haven't flipped through this, have you?
No.
This month is if you don't really love the current era. And the current season, and I don't mind it. Oh, come back! I don't mind it. I think I do in a lot of ways. But it's been again, I think, a head and shoulders above the previous season. So fine, the season finale preview. Love Archie Punjabi as the Rani.
Why? Why does that? Is it just me? That photo on the bottom right that looks like some sort of money shot. It's disgusting.
Yeah, it looks like something just came on his face. That's true. Which is probably where Juno Dawson got the idea from. I love Anita Dobson. Her as as Arani, I thought was dumb. I didn't like this character. And one of the things that annoyed me is, Why didn't they get like pop stars in to do all these cameos? I can't believe they couldn't have packed that out.
They may as well have done because the people, the actors they got, they weren't actual characters. They weren't built. They weren't formed anyway. So they may as well have picked actual singers. Maybe even people that we recognise, like when Foxes was in the Orient Express one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What's his name? He was also in the Orient Express one, right? They had what was it? Kylie Minogue, right? Look, there's a bunch of like low-level musicians that people would know who they could have got in.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It was I just weird they didn't do it. So Wish World and Reality were on the big screen. This time it's not at 1 a.m, which is good. Again, Shooting Up was the thing that's killed this season. Really, like the more I think of it, in hindsight, I went in with a very negative. Same with Andor, right? I went in with a very negative attitude, and now I got a very positive attitude. I'm rewatching it. I'm just loving it. I can't believe how much I'm loving it. Right? So I think I would like to hope they just cast an actor to be the Doctor who's good at being the Doctor, right? Because I'd like to like Doctor Who.
We used to take that as a given, didn't we?
No, I know, but it's been how many? It's been like 7-8 years since that happened, right? The book Vraz's read the book on tape of the Robot Revolution. None of these books interest me at all, right? Mr. Ringer, I know. Again, I understand they spent a lot of money on it, and I don't know why he didn't become this wasn't a really. Was a seminal character that everybody liked, but it just didn't.
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you exactly why. Because they harpooned that episode by breaking the fourth wall. Now, the only thing anybody ever talks about, that episode was beautifully made and very well cast. Linus Roach in particular was superb as the projectionist, but nobody remembers any of that. We only remember it for the 3 dopey fans sat on their sofa.
And you know what? That felt just so shoehorned in as well, and unnecessary.
I agree.
So I got this Cosmos as a club. I find Doctor Who difficult right now. And finding time getting myself to listen to it has been hard, but I really want to. Right? I do like Miranda Raison. I like what's the name? Iris Wildtheme. What's the name? Katie Manning. And I like he's got this, the Monsters from Outer Space book there. I thought that's cool. But I just can't bring myself to listen to it. Galaxy Forum. This was such a bad idea. It really was. It was a bad idea. But this is what Doctor Who's about. Like kids making drawings of it and liking it.
Exactly.
All right. Yeah, which you don't get so much when shooters trying to teach them about the love that dare not speak its name. It doesn't really work on a family show. That's a nice bit of artwork.
Nice bit of composition there. Yeah.
We're seeing this. Learning to say, well, David Dent. David Dent just being woke. Rose Island and A-list. Takes us behind the scenes. Leave the man. Leave the woman. It's the man I want. That should have been Shooting Atlas line, right? You have a unit video they'll send you to. BuzzFeed challenge Shooty and Verona. What is she wearing? To take a test to find out which Doctor Who characters they'd be. Okay. Right. Certainly not the Doctor, I'll say that. Fine. And I stopped buying the comics years ago. Basically, when Jodie came on. So fine, I guess I'm not going to do. I'll do this whole preview next week, right, for Reality War. But so my guess is they're in an alternate reality, and he's married to Varada Sethu in it. It has a normal job, and they have a child, and the child turns into Poppy. Somehow, I think it seems so. It seems like. Have you ever seen that movie with Tobey Maguire in it called Pleasantville from about 20 years ago? Yes, exactly that. But I do think Captain Poppy will turn out to be Susan invading that reality, that virtual reality.
Right. It's also unintelligible At one time, I used to sort of get a bit of a kick out of trying to predict these things, and I used to talk about it with bated breath.
So unintelligible now. You are right.
Yeah.
What's this one?
I just couldn't give a fuck. I couldn't care less.
Okay. Who's reading? Peter Post reads a special toy maker.
Oh.
Do like a bit of Peter Post. And which one's Emily Cook's book? Okay, again, I really hope she does well. Right? Even though like Tudor's wearing a dress on the front of a book, I think I want her to do well.
The book covers for those, the audio books and the print ones, are really, really nice. But you never see them.
They got their own identity, which is a good thing. Yeah. The online mob turned ugly IRL, and the shriek is unleashed. So perfect day for Lisa Gledhill. Wait, isn't Lisa Gledhill the woman who was in Countermeasures?
That's you mean who played Alison, don't you?
Yeah.
Her name is Gledhill, but I can't.
Maybe I don't think it's the same person. Again, another thing I hate about Zero. I hate this unit HQ. Put it back in a country house. It was had so much more character.
No, I agree with you
completely. I'm not really a fan of Kate Lethbridge Stewart either.
No, I've come to the conclusion. It's taken me 12 years to get tired of her, but I'm tired of her now.
Yeah, I was tired of her quite a while ago. This is a lengthy. See what I mean about being a lengthy article about a set visit to Lucky Day, which is a day that I would an episode I would rather forget. All right, that did very And this is one of the things that killed it. Right, this is some of self-indulgence they got to get away from. Right, it really is. I mean, just look at the lack of toys. Really annoys me, actually.
You can only get them through specialist outlets or unlimited numbers or both.
Exactly. That's not a sign you're doing well.
No.
I feel bad for this writer because I think he was given very poor direction, and I think the story was. Well, again, with all the accents I found it are largely incomprehensible, but I think the story was way too big for the 45 minutes they had to cram it into. Right? Again, this was more of a Doctor Who novel where we could have. I think as a novel, it would have been really quite powerful. But this is like this needs minimally 2 to 3 hours of screen time to flesh it out. Because it did. I just found it incomprehensible. I really genuinely did. What about you?
Completely incomprehensible. It had no heart to it that I could see, even though everybody was looking very mournful as if they were having these life-changing experiences. It was impossible to quantify any of it, relate to any of it, or attach. And none of these characters were fleshed out. These fellas here, I'm sure they were thrilled at being in Doctor Who. I couldn't tell you any of those characters' names.
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying, that it should have been a book. You could have a chapter about all of these ones, all these people, to introduce them and get to know them and find out how they got in the barbershop. Right? This was the wrong story for television, right? And it was
a complete waste of. I mean, Inua Ellams does seem like a bit of a knob, but he's obviously very talented. He's like into middle age now.
I agree with you.
A lot of success under his belt. He clearly loves the show. I don't think he'd make that up. But they really let him down with this in the realization of this on the screen. I don't know whether it would have been they overindulged him or and
that's 100% what they did. That's 100% what they did. They overindulged him
because they indulged Frank Cottrell Boyce as well. But at least the episode that came out of that still felt like Doctor Who.
Which was that episode?
That was the In the Forest of the Night.
Yeah, but only barely. That was a really rough episode. That episode is saved by compulsive interaction with children. Right? You can never say that about a Shooty episode. Shooty's interaction with children is you will be wind up in jail for watching. No, one second. My daughter's calling. One second. Yes, my darling. How may I help you? Hello, I'm in the middle of a live stream. I'm reviewing Doctor Who magazine. Important things are going down, baby. Picture of what? No, where is it? Okay, I'm sorry to hold everything up. My daughter needs to send me a picture of her dog. important stuff. Okay, here it comes. Tip of the spear. So, people think the Israeli military are like, you should always fear the Israeli military. No. Okay, I'm going to show you what it's really like, right? 1 second. Hang on. I got to share screen. Yeah, I understand. Look how cute it is, she said. Okay, give me a second. I know you're a little baby. A second on the wrong thing. There you go. She's got a papoose.
I never even had one of those for any of my children.
What's that, darling? Oh, don't do that. Okay, I'm in the middle of a live stream. Can I go? Okay, she went. I'm not going to say that. It might be a war crime. I don't know. But I don't know what you did there. See, exactly. I don't need to know. Exactly. I have no idea where you are or what activities you're involved in. Okay. Love you too. I want to keep you out of jail, baby. Okay. Bye. Yeah. So she's on an army base now. Okay. And then they arrested this big time terrorist from her. But this is a reality, right, of life on the front lines. Fine, let's get back to Doctor Who magazine. That's why you come to this channel. You never know what you're going to find. So yeah, again, I think he was done dirty. I think they should have really said TV needs this, especially this format. You need much more simple stories, right? They should have come up with 10 one-line plots. Right, 1 sentence plots, right? Yeah. And I think it would have helped him a lot. Because this story, and again, I honestly, he should have done something not African, not black, not personal, just told a good story, right? That should have been, because again, I think he's a real talent, and I think if he was treated like a talent and not like an identity, we would have better work, really, genuinely.
It's I think the saving grace of it is the fact that the people who are acting in it took it seriously.
That's true.
Maybe they could understand it on a level that we couldn't. Maybe they really got inside the material. Because I couldn't understand it at all. But it would have been very easy for them had they not been on their game to kind of send that up a little bit, because it is so incomprehensible.
It really is, isn't it?
Yeah, they stick with it, and they do their level best to sell it. Particularly the girl. So I can't even remember the girl character, the one who they all get on the floor.
I know who she was, and it implied that she had a lesbian relationship with Dr. Martin, whatever, Dr. Ruth. And I was like, what?
She had a lesbian relationship with Dr. Martin Luther King.
No, with Joe Martin, Doctor Who.
Oh, okay, that Dr. Martin. Got you.
Oh God, I just hate this. I mean, it's so indulgent. Again, see what I mean about this is the issue. You have to love the current series for, right? And I don't love the current. I thought it's so much better than last year. In hindsight, I do think they're going to do something before the end of this season that's going to make fans go vomit in their own mouth and say it's the worst thing ever. I get that vibe. Do you get that vibe? That's on its way.
No
comment. Nil point. And I'm also convinced, right, that we're going to revisit the Hellions and say, oh yeah, they're really the good guys because the evil Poppy Corporation were the bad guys. Evil Poppy Corporation run by Jews. Right? That's really, I think, where they're going with this.
I think I said on Saturday when I talked to you about it, how I did get the feeling I was being propagandized, but because it was so
badly written, you didn't know what it was.
No idea what Dawson was trying to tell me.
Exactly. Man, could you imagine going to a con to see these three? Really? Screw David Bradley and Sylvester McCoy. And what about Brian Blessed?
He's below them.
You kidding me?
Oh my word!
Man.
Well,
just like, okay, Veranda's here. I'll line up for that. I'll stand.
So do you see John Barrowman there?
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, John Barrowman, not a happy camper. Okay. More about the cut. Like, coming aside, Classic Who is really where people are nowadays. I hate to tell you, when you talk about Doctor Who, it's virtually all classic.
To give them their due, to Jason and everybody else on the magazine, after next month at the latest, they won't be able to talk about this for about 2 years. Really.
Oh my God. Thank God. And don't get me wrong, I love Anita Dobson, but I just think this whole arc really went in it didn't really work at all. I still don't know why she's like doing stuff like this, talking to camera. I kind of like her being like this servant of the new Rani, and she's just so well cast as the Rani, right? Yeah. She really. Whoops, I don't mean to.
I've always really fancied her as well. So that's another one.
Yeah, no, but I think the Rani has a certain sexiness to her, right?
Yes.
And I
always fancied Kate O'Mara.
What?
I always fancied Kate O'Mara. Something rotten.
Well, there's what's not to fancy. It's, but so again, look. Last year there was no creative decision where I went, "Oh, that works. That's a really good idea." This year there's been a lot of them. Again, I think a lot of them have worked. Like, again, I thought other than the incel stuff in Robot Revolution, which again, it's been much more concerned about sliming normal, sliming YouTubers, essentially, right? That's been the goal of this season.
It's people who Russell T Davies and not all of the writers, because I'm convinced that Noah Ellams has never. Doesn't know about any of this and doesn't care. He's too busy actually working and being successful.
Right.
But in the case of Russell and Pete McTighe, it would appear that they deeply resent anything that happens outside of the mainstream media. The fact that people like you and I have our platforms, we should be vetted. I mean, they seem like very progressive people and forward-thinking people with technology and things. But the impression I get is that they believe that each of us should be vetted before we're allowed a YouTube channel.
We need that. No, he truly believes the reason people are not on board with the trans thing is because they've been being fed evil right-wing misinformation. And the trouble is, no one had a problem with Captain Jack because no one really has a problem with two people loving each other regardless what their gender is, right? Nobody really has a problem with that, right? But like, that doesn't like really strike anyone's values. Let's say, you're a Bible thumper like me or a Christian. Just live and let live. That's what I would say. But you live your life, but like, I'm sorry. I think it's intrinsically evil to try and convince, especially children, to sexualize children to the length that the queer world is going right now, right? And to convince us, like, I'm not going to believe that women have penises, right? I believe in God. So they're two mutually exclusive belief systems, right? Okay, Russell, do this shit, right? This is good. But I do like the weird controller things in the background. It's a bit
cast good actors and actresses in parts that they're actually a great match for.
Exactly.
And let them flex those muscles and show the abilities that, in the case of Archie Panjab, has spent 20, nearly 30 years refining across multiple movies and TV shows.
And you can tell it. How long was she in the last episode for? Like 30 seconds?
If that.
Completely nailed the character of the Rani. Like, there's 100% with no effort whatsoever.
And she's not even in the leather jacket yet either.
Exactly. It was body language, and it just a great job, right? Really good. And I wasn't able to say this of pretty much anything last year. I hated Boom, which was basically everyone's favorite episode. Where is this? Where's this museum?
In Peterborough. I think that's the one we did. I think we did a feeture on that on Type 40 Live a couple of weeks ago.
This Dalek is rare. The pilot for Dalek Invasion is Dalek Invasion of Earth or The Chase?
Yeah, that would be.
That is a rare Dalek because they hadn't finished painting it. I think the first episode it was in, so it has a slightly different livery in the first episode as opposed to the second episode. Man, they got the Emperor Dalek there. That is gorgeous. Wow.
Spectacular, isn't it?
Yeah, and that mask for the Destroyer was one of the best practical effects they had in Classic Who. I love. Oops, excuse me. I love the. Oops, sorry. Was it where the lip curled upwards, right? Really, it was just great work.
And they put water through it as well to make it look like he was drooling.
I saw this at Longleat one year. It was a really good exhibition that year. But this space station was also excellent.
Oh, there's Jeff.
Where's Jeff? Who's Jeff?
Jeff, the guy with the white beard. That's Jeff Cummins. We had him on the show. The Target book artist.
He helped set it up.
Yeah, fabulous.
Look at the cyber logo there. It's fantastic.
One of Britain's best illustrators and commercial artists over the last 40 or 50 years, that man. The amount of things he's done, but you would have no idea it was the same guy who did those Target covers because he didn't get to sign a lot of his stuff. Fantastic artist.
Is this the original console or is this a mock-up Longleat?
It was made to exact specifications by a bunch of students at a university.
Did a good job because it's not the one they use in Adventure in Time and Space.
No, I was convinced it was, but no,
the one they use is much whiter. I always thought that was fascinating because the original prop was green, right? So they got a thing about what's they got the wheel in space. It comes with this. This is the only value with this month's Doctor Who magazine. This Target novelization from 50 years ago. Yeah,
I was a bit scornful of them doing this and putting the book in the bag because you're effectively paying for the book. I've already got the book.
Yes. Oh look, Shooting Girl was playing something gay. That's so weird. You would never expect that. David Tennant, Russell Tovey. But have you seen the trailer for the new Matt Smith movie?
No.
That was really good. Darren Aronofsky and stars Austin Butler, who was in Master of the Air and Doom.
He was Elvis.
What?
He was Elvis Presley in the.
Yeah. He's good in everything I see him in.
Yeah.
He's a real future movie star as long as he takes the Tom Cruise route. Right before you came on, I was previewing seeing Mission Impossible. I've got to see Mission Impossible tomorrow. Right.
Oh,
so
cool.
I didn't mean to. I did a 40 minutes a segment on Mission Impossible and firstly how much I like it, but also looking at just how hard he's selling this movie. Right. I have so much respect for that.
He gets out there, doesn't he? And flogs his wares hard.
He does indeed. Not really interested in the comics anymore. Again, if you get a good Doctor, I think it could turn everything around. I really do. Burn him. I think I'm on board for that. Evolution of the Dalek. I like the Art Deco and the Daleks. Yeah, but other than that, this was a bit of a swing and a miss. What would you think?
Yeah, I remember it being very thin, very silly stuff. Which again, usually I don't mind Doctor Who when it's like that, but considering this was effectively a sequel to Army of Ghosts and Doomsday, because the Dalek story kind of picks up.
Right, yeah.
It was nowhere near good enough. The thing that really killed it was that. I'm sorry, it just didn't work. No.
Never mind. I have zero. There's zero chance I'm buying this. Fantastic colorization, terrible edit. It's literally made me nauseous. The edit. You cannot watch it. I mean, you probably can. You probably bought it.
Well, I will. I bought the last one, but it's still in its cellophane. I will rewatch these, and I do like them. Yeah.
Honestly, I think this one, it gave me a headache. Right, where again, I watched one of the Pete Matine cuts or Cunning Monkey. Fantastic, right? They flow really, really nicely. So new Doctor Who books out. Emily Cook's this one, written by Hannah Ferguson. Don't know who she is. And then, they got Jack Heath, who I think has done a 9th Doctor Rose and Frankenstein book, apparently. Hook, I listened to the first couple of episodes, just couldn't work for it. I couldn't get into it. Glad I didn't buy it. Haven't been able to get into any of these as yet. This one annoys me because I really like Jonathan Carey as a war doctor. I think he's a really good. But this whole set, it's like he's not the war doctor. He's like the X-Files.
Yeah.
Some weird investigator. I don't know. Great
Seems
cover.
odd.
I am so done with Dark Gallifrey. They pissed that one. They really screwed that one up, right? Dark Gallifrey really could have been an epic thing, and it just petered out, sadly. I'm not really interested in Bambera's unit, so I can't see me getting that. Someone's talking about so it was Luke who was talking about the what's his name? Derek Jacobi Master Range, right? It's really good. That one generally. So I haven't got the last few box sets, but up until a while that was really good.
I mean, I'm thrilled that they've got Angela Bruce back as Bambera, and yet I get when they announce these people, when they announce people from the past, and then they say, oh, we've got them, and then I get excited, and then I start reading the blurb, and my enthusiasm is normally completely drained by paragraph 3 at the absolutely latest.
Yeah,
I don't know, that was a memorable character. Angela Bruce, again, British character actress. She's been around since the mid-70s on Angels. She's terrific. She can do anything. They should lift this character right up. If anything, I hate to say this because I do think that Gemma Redgrave is a consummate actress in many respects. They should put Bambera on the TV as the head of unit. Angela Bruce is so much better.
That would be great. That would really work. Oh, I would enjoy that.
The nation love her. You know, people whether they recognise her from Angels when she was a kid, or from Red Dwarf where she was the parallel world Lister,
I
classic
remember that.
Doctor Who fans, or the stuff she did on soaps, or when she was the counsellor in Only Fools and Horses, the one with the Batman and Robin episode. People love her, and they
recognise her, and they're watching with her in it. But I think I am going to get this box set though. Tom Baker, it's hard to say no to. The last couple of box sets I didn't get, but this one looks quite good. Weeping Angels, no, leave me alone. Seventh Doctor faces the Weeping Angels in the latest event. I don't know. Which one's he featured? Which is Seventh Doctor? I don't see the box set. Oh, must be this one. Fast forward. I'm just so not interested.
I have to be honest. If it's not Michael Troughton, Tim Treloar, or Stephen Noonan, the Big Finish stuff, I lose for some reason. Even the Tom Baker stuff.
Jonathan Carey as well is pretty good. Okay, and next issue is out on 19th of June. I'm really convinced it's Billy Piper is a doctor or whoever. Jimmy Cranky is the doctor.
It'll be the revelation of the we'll all have seen the regeneration by then, won't we? But yeah, it will be the kind of so and so is the doctor thing. They'll go for that right away.
I'm pretty sure.
And they might have some exclusive photographs as well, I would say.
I would hope so, right? My name's Tzvi Lebetkin, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell. Ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop.